more entry-level X3D chips are releasing, you can now make your graphics card sing, and Nvidia finally learning people don't want 8 GB. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Monday, October 27th, 2025. And we're going to start off today with the news surrounding more mid-tier X3D CPUs that are expected to launch. We talked in episodes of Hot News last week about the 9850 X3D that's expected to launch, as well as the 9950 X3D2. And now we have details about the 7500 X3D that's potentially supposed to be hitting the market, on top of a 9600 X3D that might make it out onto the streets. So there's been leaks that the 7500 X3D should hit the market. There's been a UK retailer who's listed it, and it does appear like potentially AMD is gearing up for a kind of overhauling of the X3D lineup this coming January with CES. So that 9850 X3D with a higher clock speed, the 9950 X3D2 is supposed to have more 3D V cache on both of the CCDs, and then the 9600 X3D is supposed to be the mid-tier 3D V cache version 2 CPU that comes out, and the 7500 X3D is supposed to be like the entry level. You're gonna get onto the AM5 platform, and now you have a chip that should hopefully last you a little while. Let me know if you're interested in picking up any of these new entries into the X3D lineup down below in the comments, while I let you know about today's video sponsor. Batteries. They're in everything, and no matter how big they get, they all still need to be charged. The problem is, you don't always have half an hour to plug your phone in. Today's sponsor Basis fixes that with their AM61 Qi 2.2 10,000 mAh magnetic power bank. The AM61 Qi 2.2 is an on-the-go tech user's dream, with certified 25-watt fast wireless charging and a 3-in-1 design. This bad boy can juice up an iPhone 16 Pro Max from 0 to 44% in 30 minutes, rivaling wired USB-C speeds. You can also charge 3 devices simultaneously without the need for a whole nest of cables. Slap your phone down on the wireless charger, then you can plug in your AirPods and even your iPad in with up to 45-watt fast charging via USB-C. Another issue with batteries is that they get hot, especially while charging. Basis thought about this and included advanced efficiency and thermal regulation, giving you a cooler charge and a healthier battery life. Still nice and cool even when charging. The AM61 Qi 2.2 is not only efficient, but strong. Grabbing onto the back of your phone are 16 N52H magnets, giving you a stable and strong hold, while MPP 2.0 ensures perfect coil alignment for less heat and energy loss. All of this nice charging power comes wrapped in a durable and sleek high gloss shell. Switching gears a bit to something more stationary, if you're like me and you're fully brainwashed by the fruit phone people, the Pico Go AF21 3-in-1 wireless charger is perfect for you. You slap your phone, watch, and AirPods down on this Qi 2.2 certified 25-watt fast charging stick. And while this guy is great to just have on your nightstand or your desk, it is actually still very portable, collapsing down to fit into your hand, great for cable-free traveling. The Pico Go AF21 also features the exact same magnets as the AM61, so you keep all the benefits of a strong connection. Take the steps to tidy up your charging game and grab one of these magnetic chargers from Basis today. Both the AM61 Qi 2.2 10,000 mAh magnetic power bank and the Pico Go AF21 3-in-1 wireless charger can be found via the link below. Huge thanks to Basis for sponsoring. Well, you can definitely use that Basis charger to charge the M5 MacBook Pro, which got disassembled by iFixit, and they found that Apple has made some changes to the repairability of the new MacBook. They've also increased the battery by 0.2 watt hours, which they didn't highlight this when Apple promoted it, so it's like it's just a small change underneath the hood. But what's also a change underneath the hood is that they made it so that you don't have to remove the trackpad in order to replace the battery, which had been the case on the previous Apple Silicon versions of the MacBook. So it's made it very difficult. However, there's still the issue, and why iFixit gave it a 4 out of 10 for repairability, that Apple doesn't sell a standalone battery replacement right now. They do say that in the future a battery replacement part will be available. However, now the only way to get it is to get the entire top case, which includes a keyboard and everything else. So that makes the entire battery replacement process officially from Apple cost roughly $500 when it should be significantly cheaper. But Apple did make the battery replacement aspect way easier, seeing that it might be indicating that that they're going to go for a more repairable option on this latest design, which is a welcome change. It's small incremental improvements, which is unfortunately how a lot of progress is made, and it's how Apple's currently choosing to do things with repairability. And how OCCT is choosing to do things with your GPU is make them sing a little tune with the latest update in their software for version 15. They included some new upgrades and new tests, but they also introduced a coil whine detection system, which allows you to hear if your GPU has coil whine, which for a lot of people who complain about it, it's not actually a defect. It's not actually gonna harm your card. It's just annoying, which a lot of people want to submit warranty claims for that. I'm not telling you not to, but it's also your GPU is most likely going to be just fine, even if it does have coil whine. But with their 3D adaptive test, there are different tunes that can get your GPU to sing by modulating the coil behavior as well as the fan speeds to make it so that you can hear various little ditties that your GPU is outputting. Now, in video cards testing of this software, they said that their fan speed was just way too loud in order for them to be able to hear the coil whine, which means they likely don't have a card that suffers tremendously from coil whine. But it's a neat little thing that you can check out. It's also available in OCCT's free version in case you want to dabble in that. And Reece wants to dabble in some deals, save you some money.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet. And hey, here's your first deal. Starting us off, we have the Razer Pro Click Human Scale Wireless Ergonomic Mouse for only $49.99, making it $50 off. This is their answer to the MX Master Series. But the next up, we have this Keychron Q10 wired 75% Alice layout mechanical keyboard, available open box for only $96.99, making it $118 off. And then lastly, we have this AOC 27-inch 1080p 280Hz curved gaming monitor, going for only $139.99, making it $40 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hard news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, Microsoft thinks they got a bum deal when it came to the gaming Copilot discussion that happened last week, with certain features being enabled by default on the gaming Copilot setup, people being upset that screenshots are being sent to Microsoft to train AI data. And Microsoft has come out and said, we are taking screenshots. That is for sure happening. And we're not going to comment on whether or not we're sending it back to our servers, even though that's what the initial complaint was about, was that there was traffic data that was going to Microsoft because this gaming Copilot feature was on. We're just going to say that this is not being used to train the AI. It's just being used to better understand what's happening in the game when you're using game Copilot. So that's the response Microsoft gave to Tom's Hardware, that it's not being used to train AI, it's just being used to use AI, and it's turned on by default. However, they did not specify whether or not that network data is being transmitted. Are they storing the screenshots on Microsoft servers? None of that was actually addressed, just that it's not being used for training purposes. Again, this is enabled by default on the latest Microsoft build, which is not necessarily how people want things put on their operating system. You can disable it, however, getting rid of all of the gaming Copilot and Xbox Game Bar is a little bit more difficult. It is possible to remove it from Windows, but it's a little tricky. And what's tricky is the lawsuit that's going on between Apple and the YouTuber Front Page Tech, John Prosser, because we reported last week that John Prosser missed a filing deadline in order to get his defense into the court records and did not file any sort of formal response. However, John Prosser talked to The Verge saying that he's been in active communications with Apple since the beginning stages of the case, and that the notion that I'm ignoring the case is incorrect. That's all I'm able to say. However, Apple then went on to file another court document this past Thursday saying that they're aware that John Prosser has publicly acknowledged the complaint, but has not indicated whether he will file a response to it, or if so, by when. So default was entered to Mr. Prosser on October 17, 2025. So it's already looking like Apple's moving forward in the case without him. Even if he's talking about it publicly, nothing's going on behind the scenes. According to Apple, that makes it seem like they're going to move forward with this. But that's not the case with the other defendant in this lawsuit, Mr. Ramacciati, who has allegedly been in potential settlement discussions with Apple behind the scenes, which is acknowledged in that latest court filing that's happening. So Apple saying that one of the co-defendants is working with them, and then the other one isn't really indicating whether or not he's going to engage in the lawsuit, even if he's saying all of that publicly. So we're going to keep you updated on this as we learn more as things move forward. And it looks like Nvidia is updating their situation when it comes to their graphics cards. The 5060 Ti came in two flavors, the 8GB and the 16GB. It's very similar to the previous generation 4060 Ti. However, with the previous generation, the 8GB became the default GPU. Not very many purchased the 16GB. Nvidia made it $100 more expensive, thereby making it less obtainable for the people who wanted that, especially when they could have just gone to a 4070 at that price or a 4070 Ti. And now it looks like the opposite is happening with the 5060 Ti because of the price differential between the two. Nvidia, according to behind the scenes reports, is telling the board partners that they're going to limit supply on the 8GB versions and they're just going to move ahead with the 16GB being the default card, because that is clearly what the market wants. The market wants 16GB, and so they're going to prioritize those and deprioritize the 8GB versions. And if you want an 8GB card, you either have to buy a 5060 Ti before the supply is limited, gonna have to go with the regular 5060. Gonna be your choice. And a lot of you chose to leave comments on Friday's episode of Hot News, so let's see what you had to say. Most of it was about RAM pricing. You got Simon is City saying 64GB DDR5 was like $250 a few weeks ago. Now most are $300. This 32GB RAM kit I've been eyeing up doubled in price. And then there's some people indicating the conspiracy theory that prices are increasing for Black Friday. This is something that we hear all of the time. You know, Reece does live streams whenever it's a deal day, whether that's Prime Day or Black Friday. He does active live streams, and we use tools to see whether or not the price increased prior to those Black Friday sales. And most of the time that doesn't happen with actual deals that are going on. It is a conspiracy theory. I'm sure it happens in certain sectors, but it's usually not the case with anything that we promote as a deal. We check the previous price history in order to discuss all of that. But I'm not going to discuss anything more in this episode. I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news later this week.